Hey everybody, how you doing? Back here in the shop, wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the Mustang. I promised you I'd show you how I did the door hinges and stuff like that on a steel-bodied car, similar to Greg's Henry J, but I wanted you to see that and see what I'm doing to the front end of the car. It's a lot of fiberglass work. I have to do a lot of repair in the doors, so here goes nothing. This is where we're at. I got the doors mounted. I don't have the blow-off clips on it yet, but I wanted you to see these hinges. Like I said before, I made little plates that bolt on in place of the original door hinges. And I've welded these in before. There's the bottom hinge, and you can see how the top hinge, like it goes in the door. You can see I've got a plumb line there. I did that with my laser. Marked that top and bottom and drew a plumb line on the door, so the door hinge pins are plumb. You want them plumb both ways so the door swings right. You know, when I did it, the car was level, you know, side to side, front to back, and then I set up my laser and I put a line. I try to get those hinge pins, as you can see here, I try to get those hinge pins as far out against the outside of the door as I can to make the door swing right, and then they're only about 3/4 of an inch away from the face of the door. It's sort of hard to see that. I think, yeah, see how I've got the hinge there. It's a little dark in there, but you can see that. I try to keep that pin fairly close to the door, you know, and if you look at the stock hinges, you can see where their pins were originally, and if you've got them, you just try to put the pins in as close to that same spot as you can, and the doors will swing right. And the reason why I do these bolt-on hinges like this is so you can adjust them up and down to keep that body line right. I think you can see that. It's pretty darn close. I mean, I can adjust it a little bit better, but like I say, that gives you a lot of movement up and down, side to side, and save you a lot of problems down the road. I know it's a little bit more work, but in the end it saves a bunch of problems down the road where you can do some final adjustment, because as I said before, once you start hanging weight in these doors, they'll hang different in the back. Just the gravity will make them sag a little bit. And I put a piece of plywood on the inside of the door. I don't think I showed that before, but I put a piece of plywood on the inside of the door to help stiffen all this stuff up. I'll glue it in later on, but right now I just got everything fabbed up and mounted up. And I've shown you this before here. My next project is to cut this flange off and make it line up here. So I got to move this flange in, and then I got to fix this giant hole out here. I got to fill this in so that I can mount the window to it. So a lot of fiberglass work there. In this car, get around the lift here, you can see I got the margins done. I did the margins on the doors, cut them, they're like 3/16 wide, front and back. Basically I just scribed those with a scribe and then sanded the line, you know. And I put the bear claw latches in here too. I got those installed. You can see how I cut the hole in the door to make that work. And then I had to make a pin out of a bolt because it's so far out. I used the original location, you know, to mark it from the inside of the quarter, and then just made a pin, cleaned up the head of a bolt, made a pin to hold the door to get the latch work. Pretty simple. I got those from Speedway Motors. But that's done on both sides of the car, so I got the door fit. And my next project, a lot of fiberglass work here, is to work on the front end. I'll show you this. You've seen from the outside, but what I did first when I fixed this before is I glued the inside together. You grind all the core mat off. There's like a white, if you can see in here, there's like a white core mat. They add to that to add stiffness to the fiberglass. And I got all that in there. And then I made my front end mount, as you can see there. That's what they call a tree. That's all put in there. And I ground around wear all around the black paint off that they put in it so I could fiberglass those into the body. I riveted those in with 1/8 inch pop rivets, and then when I'm done I'll drill those pop rivets out and fill the holes with fiberglass. Then on the outside I've got it ground out so I can fix the outside of those seams too. Get that, I'm going to get it roughed in for the customer. Right? Did a lot of work. Like I say, you can see here too, I had to add to this fender here. I had to add about a 1/2 inch of material right here to make it match up with the cowl because they had that hole cut too wide. So a lot of little detail work in this fiberglass junk, and it is itchy. So what I'm trying to do now is my back room back there's got a big fan in it. I'm going to try to get that heap of mine out of there, rearrange that stuff today, and move all this fiberglass in there so I'm not wrecking my shop, because this will wreck your shop. So I wanted everybody to see what was going on with the fiberglass, what I've got going on. I'll share videos later on how that's all done. I don't know if you can see I got the shocks mounted in the front. That turned out pretty good. I had to make special tabs down there, cut and grind and fit, and it's all just tacked in place. When I pull it apart I'll finish welding it. But my next step on the body is going to be welding the window tabs in, and I'm going to show you them. I will weld the tab in, a little tab here, and it'll be an 1/8 inch down like that, so that I can bolt the windows in the car. It'll have bolt-in Lexan, and I used to always put like a rubber strip in there, but it's such a pain in the butt, so I'm trying something different here. I used to weld-in strips on Rory's Henry J, and they work pretty good, but I had to shape and modify them, so I'm going to try these clips. I've seen other guys weld these in there, so I'm going to try that. They'll go like I think I've got them laid out here. You can see some marks here. I've got marks, where am I looking there? Right there, every 3 inches. So I'll center a tab like every 3 inches like that to hold the window. And these bottom ones, I may even tack the nuts on them. So I know it'll be a pain to get the Lexan or the nuts in there when it's done, so I may on the bottom ones tack the nuts to them. I'm not sure yet. But that's where I'm at with the Mustang. My next project's going to be back here, welding a piece of 1/4 inch tubing around that wheel opening, and then fixing the bottoms of the quarters where they're rusty. Try to detail some of that stuff up. And then some sort of door handles. I got to figure that one out yet. I'm probably just going to put a regular lever in like I usually do, like I did in Greg's Henry J. Anything else will probably be pretty difficult. I'll hide it so they can't see it, or I may even just put a loop, like a 1/4 inch loop back here in the back of the door that you can stick your finger in and lift up and open the door, because these they pull up that easy. So anywho, that's where I'm at. I wanted to show you that. Mustang's turning out pretty good. Like I said before, it's the only thing in the shop right now. I've got a William Archer's 33 Willys body coming in that we'll have to mock up, and I'll fiddle around with that a little bit. But like I say, I'm trying to stick to one car at a time. So, something else I wanted to show you. When I'm filling these, I use those little aluminum plates to hold everything. I countersink those holes, and then I'll fill that like with that Duraglass, the chopped fiberglass, stranded fiberglass. I do that on all those holes, and then I'll rough them in. Probably shoot a little primer. The holes in the back, like I've got one here, around the lift again. I've got a hole here. I'll just MIG weld that shut and polish it off. So anywho, that's where we're at. I wanted to share. See you soon.